it.
From baffling missing 411 cases that leave us questioning reality to the elusive and legendary creatures like Bigfoot, we are here to discuss it all.
By God, if a hand come from the other side of that fence, grab this thing by the head and neck, just one-timed it.
1 o'clock in the morning, I'm awakened by lights. Bright lights. I'm talking about, Josh, the lights were so bright, it looked like daytime, so I thought it was the morning.
There's just something going around, attacking our sheep. And my grandma used to talk about this guy, Ketso, that means, Bigfoot in our language, so.
If you have ever found yourself captivated by the unexplained or intrigued by the mysterious, you are in the right place. Welcome to Mysteries Unknown. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another live of Mysteries Unknown with Daniel. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, dude? Man, good to be back on a live. I'm sorry, I just had to put that one out there.
Oh, yeah. Listen, guys, that's great. That's a good way to start off the show. Michelle's drinking Mysteries Unknown coffee, and it's storming, so we're ready for this show as well. That's awesome. Guys, we're excited to have you here tonight. We have got a really good show for you. We're going to be talking about something that has brought up a lot of controversy, and it's a really strange topic. And Daniel, as usual, has done a lot of research. So we're going to be talking about, how do you pronounce the name, Daniel?
I got to
put him on the spot.
I got to see it. 1 second here.
Okay, it's a good one, guys. This is we're going to be talking about Yeti. This story that happened in Russia. So basically, 9 hikers went out and. A lot of strange stuff happened. We're going to get into that tonight. We're going to be talking about other Bigfoot encounters and just the usual stuff, hanging out with you guys. And got a lot of new people in the chat. It's good to see everybody here. A lot of members are here tonight. Alexandra, it's great to see you. Frida, it's awesome to see you. Taft the Wanderer, always good to see you. Jesus is King. So we're excited to have everybody here tonight. This is going to be a good one, guys. So
it's Dyatlov incidents in the Ural Mountains in Ukraine.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That's a really hard one to pronounce, but we're going to get into all of that and hang out with you guys per usual, drink some coffee, have a good time, and just enjoy everything. So we're excited that you guys are here, excited for all the support. You guys are amazing as usual. If you have a mystery or an encounter, actually, I need somebody to come on the show for, I need an interview to do for Monday. So if you've got an encounter and you've been wanting to come on the show, I would love to talk to you. Make sure to send me an email at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. Probably we'll do that interview on Sunday. So if you're ready for that, you've been waiting. It's a perfect time. I had an opening. So be glad to get you on. But how's your week been, man? Daniel, you have one. Listen, here's what maybe we should do. If somebody doesn't reach out, maybe we should do a Monday. We should do a video about your encounters and just do one long video, man, about your encounters. So maybe that's what we need to do. I'm sure everybody would love to hear that, man.
No one.
Well, I might be calling on you if somebody wants to. You might have to step up, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind.
Do you want me to write one?
No, I want to interview you something that's happened.
Like an actual...
I might go over. Yeah, I might go over the rake that one we might go into more detail about. I think that might be good to do, but that one still scares me. Guys, if you've not heard that story, it is, wow, incredible. What are you drinking, Daniel?
I'm drinking Pepsi Zero.
Pepsi Zero.
I'm a Pepsi. I'm sorry. I love Pepsi. Pepsi, Dr. Pepper. I'm sorry. I just can't do Coke. I just can't. Well, I can't do Coca-Cola. I'm not going to say I can't.
Gotcha.
I'm just kidding.
Right. That's funny, man. I have not had a Coke a soda. Sorry, I'm from the South, but I've not had anything like that in probably 15 years or longer, man. It's root beer. I'll drink a root beer. I guess that does count. So I'll drink a root beer. But hey, Austin, if you would, man, send me an email, mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. If you've got time, I'd like to talk to you. I'll probably do the interview on Sunday. Pretty busy tomorrow. So Crypto Keeper is here. Good to see you, man.
Nice.
Let's see here. Greasebag McQueen is here, says he is excited about the show. I've always had a fascination with this incident. It is really a really strange incident. I don't know if it's because, well, there's just a lot of circumstances. And I know that when we were talking about it, you had like 10 pages of notes about this
12.
topic. 12? Yeah, that's a lot.
Not just this incident, but, again, remember our last live, we said, hey, let's talk about the Yeti. And yes. So I just went and I got like 12 pages of stuff on Yeti, and it just so happens that this incident is in there for a reason.
Is in there. Yeti has got a whole different lore behind it, and it is I think Yetis are known to be a little bit more aggressive, and I think a lot of people really do disappear when they encounter these creatures. But we're going to do all that. I've got a pretty special announcement that I wanted to announce, but it's going to be a little bit later in the show. We're going to be doing another giveaway, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Once we get a little bit more people in here, I'll talk about that. But Amnesty says as soon as I get my coffee pour over on Amazon, I'm ordering some coffee. Awesome, guys! I will just tell you right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'll play it. I'm going to play one of the videos that I made. If you guys don't know, we launched coffee this week. I've soft launched it. Oh, you're good. So if you want to order the coffee, you can go to mysteriesunknowncoffee.com and get you a bag of coffee. But I made this little commercial the other day. I've got one I'm going to drop later in the show, but I'll drop this one just while we have a few people here. You guys will get a kick out of it. It's pretty funny. So.
Mysteries Unknown Coffee. Bigfoot's favorite coffee. Get you some.
I don't know why that's not going on. Okay, cool. Sorry. But anyways, we're going to be talking about all that stuff. I know that you've researched a lot, man. How many stories did you come up with?
Well, I was able to come up with like the top 10 sightings of the Yeti. Now, here's the thing. People think the Sasquatch is very elusive, and Yeti is even more elusive. And the reason it's even more elusive is its location. It's in the Himalayas. It's all up around that area, the Ural Mountains. Sorry, there have not been, I think for like every one Yeti sighting, there's been like 1,000 Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah.
So
yeah, do you think that has more to do, I guess, with the location that it does the population of that creature, or do you think it's more just, what do you think about that?
I think it is. I really think it is. And the last known sighting or evidence of one in a location is 2019, and I sent you those pictures. And I actually read more into that, and that group was extremely ridiculed for it. But these were professional. These are professional soldiers. These are like an elite group of soldiers for this country. They were ridiculed for it.
Well, I mean, it's not something that's supposed to be there, and it's not talked about near as much. So I can see how that would happen, but it's always been interesting to me, man. And I'm excited to get into all this. So for you guys just tuning in, this is what we're going to be talking about tonight.
On February 1959, 9 hikers were killed while in the Ural Mountains. 9 mutilated bodies were found on the mountain. Some say Yeti is to blame. This is the mystery of the Dyatlov Pass incident. The truth is out there.
It's going to be good. I'm really excited to get into that and other Yeti stuff. So, we get people that ask a lot of stuff on the show, and they want to know some stuff. So guys, if there's something that you want to know or you want me and Daniel to talk about, just send us an email. Let us know. You can email us at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. So excited to get into this, man. If you're ready,
sure,
let's do it.
So we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and get into this, I guess, first, and then we'll go through the ones that I found. But this one is actually in the top 10. So it's funny. I took half a day work because I'm all out of work at work. So I didn't want to just sit around. I'm the type of person I have to do something. I just can't sit around. I feel bad. I feel like I'm stealing from the company. And some people think I'm stupid for that, but it's just my work ethic. Yeah. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna take half a day. Came home, surprised my wife, dropped off some coffee at her place of work because I haven't brewed any of my coffee yet that I just bought. And so I came home and I said, you know what, I want to get a little more knowledge on this incident. And I found a documentary on this on Tubi. And I wish I could pronounce her name, but the lady that they interview a lot in this, she is like the foremost expert on this incident. She was curious about it. She started looking up for documentation. 10 years later, she has a website that is literally considered the National Library about this incident. She's an expert on it. So there are 75 different theories as to what happened to him. And a lot of people, we've heard what these theories are. If you haven't, some of the theories go as an avalanche, an ice slab, a snow slab. There is a native tribe that inhabits the area. Believe that they are responsible for killing these hikers. Russian military, Soviet Union came in because they got too close to an area they shouldn't have been, and they were killed. I've even heard ones where UFO, because of radiation. The probables on this is the snow slab or the avalanche, kind of the same thing. A snow slab is just like a huge slab of snow that just slides off and will bury. That sounds very probable. And again, you guys, we're not saying that Yeti did this. We're not. I'm just going to try to present research, evidence. You guys can draw your own conclusion. If you have that picture, there's a picture on the camera reel that one of the hikers turned around because, from what I understand, what they're guessing is that they heard something following them, and they turned around and they snapped a picture. And if you have that picture,
give me just a second. I'm trying to get it pulled up here. Did you hear I don't know if you heard the theory about because originally there was 10 hikers.
Yep.
And one of them went back, and some of them say that, he might've been associated with it, but here's that picture he was talking about.
Now this is taken behind the group. You can see their tracks from their skis. And then this thing steps out, not realizing that one had stopped, turn around, take a picture.
That's pretty wild, man. I mean, that's definitely, some kind of, bipedal creature. You really can't tell. It could be a person, but it really doesn't, you can't really tell, but could it be a Yeti?
Who knows?
Like Daniel said, we're not saying that these things are that, but we just throw the facts out there and stuff and let you guys come to your own conclusions. So
now the individual you're talking about, I think his name was Igor. And he was the medic. He was the medic for that group, and he had gotten hurt. He hurt his back or something during this trek, and he had to turn back. He couldn't even carry his own pack, and so he came back into town. So him being a suspect was completely ruled out.
Okay.
So yeah, the Roccos must be a highly elusive short-armed Bigfoot. We're not saying it's a Bigfoot. Yetis tend to be actually smaller stature than Sasquatch do. There are from all the documentation I was able to find, they believe that there are 3 kinds of Yetis. The first and largest is called the Zoote, stands roughly 8 feet tall. When it's on its hind legs, prefers to walk on all fours. It can kill a yak with one swipe of its claw. These are ones that are found, in all that type of stuff. The Chuthi, or they call it the Thelma, a little reddish-colored child-sized creature that walks on 2 legs, has long arms, is seen in the forest of Sikkim and Nepal. And then there is the Meite, who is most likely a man or an orangey red fur, who has orangey red fur on his body. He attacks humans and is one of the most often depicted on monastery paintings. The Yeti or Yeti is a mutation of a name. It also looks like a Tintin in the Tibetan Yeti. So they vary in colors. The tallest one they're saying is roughly 8 feet tall. Again, we're definitely not saying that, hey, this is exactly what happened, because I tend to believe that the snow slab has something to do with it. Okay. So here's the story. A group of 10 experienced hikers, cross-country skiers, decided to go out on a hike. Now, this hike was 300 kilometers long. They were going to a certain mountain. They had no radios, no form of communication. There was no really any true map that laid out the area. So they were going pretty much in blind. They're all college students. They're going to like a technical college in the area. Igor, again, was their medic, and partway through, he got injured somehow. He had to retreat to the 9 carried him. Now, between February 1st and February 2nd, 1959, this is when the incident happened. Something happened. Some of the pictures that I sent you of the people, these were pictures taken along the trip. There were 5 cameras that were recovered, and there were 4 journals that were recovered. And all the pictures showed that were able to be developed showed them having a good time. They're all really good friends. They're enjoying the trip. Nothing seems to be amiss. Now, what we're having here, this is the actual tent that was partially buried, what they believe to be a snow slab. And these are the rescuers that are coming up, because they had been out there for like, I want to say a week or 2 weeks before they were reported missing, and they weren't found for, I believe, like a month later. And when they were found, when the place found, they found where the camp was up on a ridge, and what they didn't realize, it was kind of like their tent was set up on a slope. And it had like a little divot in it. It was at a 23-degree angle. That's the tent right there. It had a 23-degree angle. That's what it was sitting on. But what they didn't realize is that underneath it, there was a deeper slope that was a 28-degree slope. And that's a big danger for avalanches, snow slides, things like that. And what they're believing is that they had set up below that 28-degree angle, and it had been snowing. There had been some type of weather change, and it just gave way underneath. And they're saying that snow slab came down. Now, this person, and I wish I had her name. They're saying that the injury sustained by the snow slab would have definitely hurt them, but it would not have killed them. And it would not have been, any of the injuries would not have been to the extent of causing death or maiming them the way that they were maimed. A short ways away, they found the first body. It was partially buried in the snow. The second one was a few more meters away from that one, also partially buried in the snow, face down in the snow. The first one was face up in the snow. The injuries that were sustained, they had massive blunt force trauma injuries. Some of the injuries, they still could not, they couldn't explain how the injuries happened. Two of them had fractured skulls. Like something exerted a large amount of force to fracture their skulls. A few meters away, they found two more bodies, partially unclothed, one facing up, one facing down in the snow. And then they found another one a shorter distance away. There was evidence of a campfire. So what had happened is they were trying to move into an area that was more sheltered from the elements. And there was evidence of a campfire. Sorry, guys. They found another one of the, if you can look through, I think there's one of the group and there's a lady standing off to the side. If you find that picture.
I'm gonna put this one up real quick while I'm looking for that one.
Okay.
As soon as it'll pull up.
Yeah. Were found a short ways away from the tent.
Are you talking about the picture with the three people?
It's like 3 or 4 people. It's the hikers. They're standing like in a line, and there's one lady standing off to the side.
Oh, okay, I got it. Give me just a second. I'll get it on there. Give me a minute, guys.
Sure.
Here's the other the body that he mentioned that they found face down while that one's pulling up.
Yep, this is the other one. And it was so cold. They believe that these two, they died right where they were at. And these ones here, they just died of hypothermia. They died of exposure. Nathaniel says one of them had their tongues. Yeah, one had their tongue removed. I think 2 of them had their eyes removed. And so the radiation, Hatbox is saying the radiation. So 2 of them had traces of radiation on them. And that has already been debunked. Where that radiation is coming from is one of them worked at a facility that had some type of radioactive material around it. Right. The second person that had radiation just so happened to know that person and went and visited that person at work. So that's the debunking of the radiation. Some of them, or one of them, did have a burn on their leg. That was never I guess figured out how they got the burn. When I want to say the native was like the Massies or something like that, and they were actually a couple of them were actually taken into custody and questioned for days before they were released, and pretty much were like, listen, there's no way that you guys had done this, so we're just going to go ahead and release you. Let's see here.
Got that picture I'll pull up real quick.
Okay.
There's that picture there.
So the lady that's off to the left, she's the one that had her, I want to say, her eyes and her tongue removed.
Such a strange story, man.
Yeah. I mean, 4 of the bodies were found lying in running water in a creek. 3 of these 4 had damaged soft tissue to their head and face. 2 of the bodies had missing eyes. 1 had a missing tongue. 1 even had missing eyebrows. The investigation concluded that the compelling natural forces had caused death. Numerous theories have been put forward to account the unexplained deaths, which include animal attacks, hypothermia, avalanche, katabatic winds, infrasound induced by panic, military involvement, and some combination of these factors. However, every single thing that was mentioned on here they can't explain the physical trauma that these bodies endured. They can't the crushed skull, the removing of the eyes, and it's not like a predator had come in or a scavenger had come in. You have to understand these bodies were partially buried. So
weird.
A scavenger is not going to smell a decaying body because these bodies were frozen.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just a ton of different things. Are we ever really going to know what happened to these? No, we're not. There's a lot of stories. There's a lot of things that go on around that area that even the natives that were around that area are saying it's a very good possibility that they were going into because I think the mountain that they were going to is considered a sacred mountain to these people.
Yeah.
And that they believe a creature protected that mountain. So
we hear about, if we've learned anything about these creatures, Bigfoot, Yeti, things like that, they're extremely territorial. So, that does make sense. And it's such a rural area that, with that kind of behavior, like you said, we're never going to know, but is it possible? Sure. This is a really good comment. Grease McQueen says that it's translated. I believe it is translated Death Mountain. If you do some research on that. So, that's really interesting. So it's just a really weird incident with a lot of things and a lot of questions. And that's why I always say there's so much in God's universe we don't understand. But, they definitely, it's not a way to go out, man.
No.
So
there was like one had major skull damage, one had minor skull damage. 4 of them had massive chest damage. So,
if it was just an avalanche, and I understand things can happen in an avalanche and things like that. I mean, you can have physical damage, but you're not going to lose. I mean, I wouldn't think you lose a tongue, eyes, things like that. That kind of make you wonder, like, well, there's probably something more to that story, but we're never going to know. But it's one of those mysteries that Yeti could check that box because they do have a tendency to be extremely aggressive. So,
well, one thing about the tent is that the tents they show were shredded. Like there was a tent that had. It was determined that the tent was actually cut from the inside out for them to escape. So again, what was that? We don't know. And again, the injuries sustained, the injuries found on the bodies do not coincide with an avalanche. They just don't. Because where this avalanche took place, okay, what they did is they took their skis, they laid their skis on the ground to make a floor. They put their tent on it so they had a place trying to where they had a more stable place to sleep, okay? They were sleeping, they believed, on a 23-degree angle, okay? Now, when that slab came down, it took out the tent. Now, you're going to be able to dig yourself out, but it wasn't like something picked up a 1,000-pound slab of snow and just dropped it on the tent. It flew into it, and you saw that the tent was not completely buried.
Right.
It was still partially, so there it just doesn't make any sense. People want to say, it's not a Yeti. It's this or it's this. It's this. And you know what? Everybody has a right to their opinion because, number one, I wasn't around in 1959.
Yep.
Even if I was, there's no way I'd be doing that. I can find other things to be doing in 1959 if I was around. Going out in the middle of winter on a 300-kilometer cross-country skiing hike type thing with no communications, only what you have on your pack, I'm sorry, I just can't do that.
Nope, no thanks. There's no way. Even if I was in tip top shape, man, there's no way I would do that. So I just, it's one of those things, man, that it just makes you sit and wonder, and it keeps you up at night because there's so many things that do not fit inside just a normal, hey, this was an avalanche and that's all that happened. There's a lot of just unchecked boxes. And, if you take the fact that Yeti is known to be in places like that, and that is behavior that would be attributed to that, it could be, we're not saying it is, it's just something that could be. And it's really, really interesting. And I love to talk about this stuff, but I want to take a second to say everybody in the chat, BFFG Bigfoot Research, glad to see you, man. Glad you're here. Christopher Mintz, awesome to have you here. Janet, good to see you. Jennifer from Las Vegas, good to have you here. We're excited to have everybody. So there's enough people in the chat now. I'm going to, so here's what we're going to do, man. We're going to be doing another giveaway, actually our first giveaway. But if you join as a member from tonight all the way through this coming up month through September, we're going to give away a bag of Mysteries Unknown coffee and a signed poster from Mysteries Unknown. So we're going to be giving this away to 2 people. And at the end of the month, we're going to be doing a drawing on a live. And so all you have to do to enter is be a $6.99 member or above. Now, if you already are a member, we'll put you in there. But just wanted to throw that announcement out there. So yeah, man. So it'll be good. We just want to give back and just say that we appreciate all you guys being here. And if you are a member, reach out to me. Let me know if there's something different you would like to see or how we can make your membership worth it. We're definitely trying to get to the point where we can invest more time into this and to give you guys more back. And the only way we can do that is to grow. But Jennifer says the specific injuries and missing tongue is what throws me off. Yeah, it's really weird. It's such a weird, I don't know. But it just makes you wonder and makes you wonder if that's what could have happened. But could you imagine if that's what it was? If let's say it is Yeti going out that way, man, the last thing you see is that creature, tearing your body apart like that.
Well, we'll think about
that's not how I'd want to go out.
Me neither. But think about this. Whenever you hear of, and especially it's chimpanzees, when you hear a primate that attacks another primate or even a person, they go for the face, they go for the fingers, and they go for the genitalia. That's what they do. They eat your face off. They gouge your eyes out. They rip your tongue out. They bite your fingers off. And I'm telling you, again, I'm not saying it's a Yeti.
That's weird. And if you take, like Janet says, if you take that with the fact they caught a picture of something that looks bipedal, some kind of bipedal creature following them. And it wasn't them. It wasn't any of them, and we don't know that, but it's really, really, really strange. But hey, we got pork chops and applesauce here tonight. That is such a great day, man.
pork chops and applesauce.
I love it. It is so, I love that. Good to see you guys. Good to see everybody. So some pretty wild stuff, man.
The tongue is a delicacy. Oh my goodness. Well, hey, being down south, I've had beef tongue before. If it's cooked right, it is delicious.
I'm out. Nope, I'm good. No thanks. I want none of that. None of that for me.
I've eaten some weird stuff, dude.
I'm sure you have. You've traveled a lot. You've been all over the world, so I'm sure that you've had your fair share of weird foods. But not me, man. I'm good without any of that stuff. So. But guys, if you're just jumping on here tonight, we're talking about some really crazy Yeti stories. And Daniel's got several other stories that he's going to be talking about. And then we'll probably get into some Dogman stuff and some other Bigfoot accounts later on in the show. So hit us up in the comments. We love talking to everybody. If you're new here, let us know. And we're just excited that everybody's here. So it's good to see everybody.
Yeah. Absolutely. And if you're new here, how did you hear about us? Was it the algorithm, or was it something that I posted? So
I always want to know. It always makes me curious to see how people stumbled on the channel. And for you guys who don't know, every single Monday I post a interview of an encounter somebody's had with Bigfoot, with Dogman. You never know what we're going to be talking about, but we'll always have a good time. And Amy says Dogman. Yes, people love Dogman stories. It's so weird. I will tell you, this is not on topic to what we're talking about, but we've had so many people from North Carolina specifically come forward and talk about these Dogman encounters. We need to do a whole show on that, a whole live on that, because it blows my mind, some of these encounters that are happening in North Carolina. So really weird stuff, man.
So it's funny that we're bringing up Dogman. So I don't know. Well, but I don't know if everybody in the room knows. I was on another podcast recently, Bigfoot Society.
Yeah,
with Jeremiah, and I've only told my encounter twice. Of the last encounter in 92 with my little brother. And a person reached out in the comments and pinpointed exactly where I had my encounter. And he went on to say that there's also been a Dogman recently sighted in that area. So me doing what I do for you is I'm in contact with that person. Like, I just talked to him yesterday, and I'm going to try to get him to come on the show for you.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. That'd be great. I'd love that. That'd be really good. These Dogman encounters, they really fascinate me, and so does Bigfoot, but Dogman is just a whole different thing, and somehow they're connected. I don't know. It's such a weird world, and we love talking about it. And so I'd be excited to talk about it. But your encounter, man, what you saw when I remember you told me that same day that happened. I was like, man, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So
let's get into some of these encounters. So where I got these from is I found this guy named Graham Francis Hoyland. He's a British author, mountaineer, and sailor. He is the 15th Briton to climb Mount Everest, and instigated the 1999 Malroy and Irvine research expedition, which was responsible for finding George Malroy's body. He was a BBC producer for over 30 years, worked on programs such as Dragon's Den and Around the World in 80 Faiths. And in 2019, the Independent newspaper named him as one of the 5 most inspiring explorers. So this guy has a huge pedigree when it comes to exploring, mountaineering. He's been in the Himalayas. So he actually has a very, very deep, 3-decade relationship with a lot of the people, the Sherpas, that have climbed Everest and other mountains around the area. That's where I got the descriptions of the 3 different types of Yetis, or that he's talked to people, and he listed the top 10 sightings from his own personal experiences. Now, not that he necessarily had some of these experiences, but these are ones that are told to him from person to person, and have found some documentation on it. Number 1 is the Sonam Hishra Sherpa in Nepal in the 1960s. Some of the Sherpas I climbed with had stories about a family of yaks being attacked and yak herders terrorized by a creature that sounds like an enormous, I'll just say Yeti. In 1986, in Namche Bazaar, capital of Sherpa Chumbru region, he met Sonaram Hishra Sherpa. 20 years previously, he had been grazing his yak cows across the Dizo, high on a pasture. During the night, he heard loud whistles and bellowing. While he cowered with fright in a cave with his companions, they were sure they were going to be killed by a Yeti after he had finished with their livestock. In the morning, he and his men found that 2 of his livestock had been killed and eaten. There was no meat or bones remaining, only blood, dung, and intestines.
Man. And I guess we should point out too, this show is probably a little bit more graphic, guys, than most of the time when we have our shows. But that's what Yeti is. It's extremely aggressive and stuff like that. And hey, Jennifer, thank you for that. That's awesome. Really, really appreciate that. We appreciate the support, and thank you for doing that.
Thank you. So I'm just going to throw this out here. So a lot of people, now anybody who has been to Alaska or Upper Canada or anything like that. Okay. I've always asked this question. Name the most ferocious, the most dangerous bear. And almost immediately everybody goes Kodiak or grizzly bear. And it's really not, because a Kodiak, a grizzly bear, a brown bear, a black bear, they're omnivores. They eat meat. They also eat, berries and grasses and things like that. The polar bear is the most dangerous bear because the polar bear is 100% carnivore. They only eat meat. They look at a human as a piece of food, not as a source of food. Oh, if I go hang out with this guy, he's going to throw me some scraps. I'm going to go chase that guy and I'm going to eat that guy. That's probably the same thing with a Bigfoot or Sasquatch versus a Yeti. Look at the location. I don't think that a Yeti is going to be going around and getting berries and fruits or other vegetables or anything like that. They are strictly carnivores. So by you saying, they're very aggressive, cold weather makes everyone irritable. That's true. So that is true. So does bad, hot, sticky weather does too.
Well, that's why I tell everybody that here in the South we call them boogers, but they're so mean because of the humidity. So it goes both ways, though.
Exactly. So that's why I tend to agree with you that a Yeti I would see as being more aggressive than your typical Sasquatch or Bigfoot because of what they are. They are a 100% carnivore.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, you're going to be on the menu if it sees you. Where Bigfoot, you have an encounter with Bigfoot. I mean, how many people do we talk to on a daily basis that have these encounters and walk away to tell it? I mean, you did, I did.
Right.
I know, and so I think there's probably not as many that have these encounters with Yetis that are walking away from this stuff. So, pretty crazy stuff, man.
Yeah. Another one. This one is in Nepal. This is from the 1830s. Brian Hodgson. The earliest Western account of a wild Himalayas date back to 1832 and is given by Mr. Hodgson. The court of Nepal's first British resident and the first Englishman permitted to visit the forbidden land. Hodgson had to contend with the hotbed that was and still is Nepalese politics. He was particularly interested in the natural history and ethnography of the region, and so his report carries some weight. He recorded that his native hunters had been frightened by a wild man. Religion has introduced the bandar monkey into the central region, where it is seemed to flourish, half domesticated in the neighboring of the temple. So there's temples up there that have these monkeys, and they are like a religious icon, I would say. Many shooters were once alarmed in the Kakhtar by the apparition of a wild man, possibly an orang, but I doubt the accuracy. They mistook the creature for a cocodemon or a rakshas demons and fled from it instead of shooting. It moved, they said, erectly, was covered with long, dark hair, and had no tail. So that's something that they saw up around the temples in 1832. I mean, there's some that's back to like 300 BC. when Alexander the Great was set out for his conquest of Persia.
That's so wild, man. That is so wild. These things go back forever. I mean, they go back a really long time, and that's what, to me, leads so much credence to people seeing these things. AAO, thank you so much for gifting these memberships. I don't know what to say. I appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. Nathaniel Harris, thank you very much. I know. Thank you for giving us a cool space to hang out and talk about cool stuff. You know what? Glad to do it. I'm thankful for all the support, and it's just been an honor. It really has been an honor to do this, and hopefully someday this is a full-time thing, and it's what we're working towards, and hopefully that happens. But can't do it without you guys liking and sharing the channel. And Daniel, thanks again, man, for just putting in the work, for getting these stories, and guys, he puts a lot of time and effort into this, and he loves to research. That's his thing. He loves to research, and so we have fun doing it, but and you're good at it. And for you guys who don't know much about me and Daniel, we do not agree on a lot of things. And so you're coming to a show and a platform where, we're going to have difference of opinions, and all these opinions are welcome here. Everybody's welcome here. And we just want to give people a safe place to share these encounters. So if you have an encounter you're holding on to, and you want to share it and have a safe place to do it, send it to me at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. So there's one comment I wanted to drop on here. Wade Fisher says, if those Yetis are anything like my wife, you don't want to be around when they get hungry. Anybody who's married knows that is a true statement. So
facts.
I love it. I love it. So if we've missed you in the chat, we just want to let you know that we really are appreciative to everybody that contributes to the show, and whether you're a member or you just watch, thank you for doing that. And we still have not got anything set in stone for these lives. Somebody asked if they were going to do them on Fridays. We just kind of do them when me and Daniel have time right now. It's kind of a last minute thing. Sometimes we'll talk about a topic and then we just hold on to it till we get a chance. And so if you guys want to hear about something else, another story, for the next live, let us know. We'll research it and talk about it. But I know you got more stories to talk about, but I want to talk about the sponsor of tonight's show real quick. It is Mysteries Unknown Coffee.
Nice.
We got a sponsor. And so here is the sponsor. But before we do that, for everybody just popping on, if you join as a member, $6.99 or above on the show, you can do it tonight. But all the way through September, we're going to be giving two people. We're going to be drawing, but two people will get a free bag of Mysteries Unknown coffee. And then you're going to get a really big Mysteries Unknown poster that I'm going to sign. So all you got to do is sign up for $6.99 above on the membership and email me. Let me know. Send me an email with your address and all the information, and we'll put you guys in a drawing. But here's our very first sponsor for Mysteries Unknown podcast.
Since the beginning of time, man has tried to solve this one mystery. Why is coffee so stinking good? Solve the mystery with Mysteries Unknown Coffee. The truth is out there.
All right. So there you go. Mysteries Unknown. It's mysteriesunknowncoffee.com. I just got the website launched, I think yesterday. Really good coffee. I think Daniel got his in a couple days ago. So anyways, that supports the channel. That's going to help this channel continue to grow and to hopefully do this full time. So that is the goal. And so there's that. Don't forget about the giveaway. Flower Child Deb, thank you so much for that $10 gift. You are amazing. She's always here. She's always hanging out with us, always supports the channel. She's sent a lot of really cool emails, and I'm grateful for that. So just excited to have everybody here. But enough about all that stuff. I know you guys are here for the stories. So what else do you got, man?
So get into the whole Alexander the Great, but it was documented him saying that in the lands of the satyrs, in the mountains that lie to the east of India, live creatures that are extremely swift, as they can run on both 4 feet and on 2. They have bodies like men, and because of their great speed, they can only be caught when they are ill or old. And that's coming from one of the greatest military leaders in the world of the world. So that says a lot.
That's wild, man. That is wild.
Back at that far.
It's crazy. You know, there's so many stories like that, and you talk about people like that, and then Teddy Roosevelt, one of our presidents, talks about an encounter with the Bigfoot creature. So it's just there's so many encounters out there. A wild man. It's so weird, and so Jennifer says apparently Teddy Roosevelt had a sighting. We were just talking about that. So in one of these days, I want to do a live show about that. I thought that would be pretty interesting to do. So. So there's just so much out there and so many mysteries that we want to dive into. But
you want to know what this is what Jeremiah said about you and about Mysteries Unknown. He said that he really, really enjoys listening to your interviews, also our lives, and the reason being is we just don't stick to Bigfoot. We've now encompassed Dogman, but you also entertain other cryptids. And I'm still working on the Kushtika.
I'm ready for that one.
Which is a Alaskan cryptid. So as soon as I find out more, I've got a guy up in Alaska, and I'm waiting to. He's like super, super busy. So as soon as I get more information, because he's actually talking to a couple of elders, native elders in his tribe. And he's going to really get me a bunch of stuff, so I can't wait.
I'm excited for that one. I'm really excited because I don't know a whole lot about that, and I'm really excited about it. And talking about being open to stuff, it's funny because Mysteries Unknown, I started this, and my first episodes are about Bigfoot, but my intentions were to talk about stuff outside of Bigfoot, really strange mysteries. Me and Daniel both come from law enforcement backgrounds, if you don't know. And so mysteries have always been one of those things that just really intrigue me. So got a lot of stuff down the pipeline. I run a videographer, kind of a cinematography company. We do a lot of documentary stuff. And so we have some stuff hopefully in the works, but, got a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about on this channel. And Mark, you are right. Jeremiah is a cool dude.
Yes, he is.
Really, really cool dude. It's good to see you. I try to give you a call, Mark. When you get a chance, shoot me an email. When's a good time to call? I'd love to talk to you. I know you got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. So, guys, if you just want to send me anything, or if you want to reach out and have an encounter, send it to me at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get back to you, but I do get back to everybody's emails. I appreciate everybody that has come on the show and that supported it. So it's really good stuff.
Hey, Rhonda, are you talking about Fred? Is it like he has his own YouTube channel that's up for Alaska? I can't remember. If that's who you're referring to, I talked to him. Not
we're working on it,
but I talk with him quite a bit. So.
He wants to come on the show, so we are working on that. So it is something we're definitely working on, and you never know what we're going to have on. I mean, there's a video on my channel that I talk about the what is the name of that island? I always forget the name of it.
Plum Island.
Plum Island. Yeah. So I talk about Plum Island. There's some deep dive mystery stuff that we want to get into. And so you never know what we're going to be talking about, but we will always be dropping interviews on Mondays between 11 and 11:30. If you guys don't know, that's when we drop, I'll be dropping new interviews. So, yeah. So, hey, Virginia's good to see you. I'm glad that everybody's here. Rhonda, good to see Hillbilly Holler. So just excited to see everybody in the chat, and thanks for hanging out with us tonight on a Friday night. So this was kind of a last minute deal. I knew I'd have some time tonight, and I asked Daniel, and he said yes. So we're excited to hang out with you guys. So what else you got, man?
So Lieutenant Colonel Charles Howard Bury, this happened in Tibet in 1920. He's a leader of the 1921 Everest Reconnaissance Expedition. Charles Howard Bury saw something strange when he crossed the Himalaya at 21,000 feet. He was one of the extraordinary Everesters. He was wealthy and moved easily in high society. He had a most colorful life, joined up in a haunted Gothic actually grew up in a haunted Gothic castle in Charleville County of Offaly in Ireland. In 1905, he stained his skin with walnut juice and traveled into Tibet without permission. What? I don't know. Being ticked off by the Viceroy of India, Lord Curzon, on his return, Tibet must have been crowded with heavily stained Englishmen at that time. He bought a bear cub, named it Argue, and took it home to Ireland, where it grew to be 7 feet tall. So he was familiar with bear prints. So this is important to the story. So people say he was prone to telling tall stories. Fellow Everest climber George Malroy didn't like him much, but thought nothing of it. The story he brought back seemed entirely plausible to fellow members of the Alpine Club. He was very careful. He was a careful observer of nature and a plant hunter. He has a plant named after him, by the way. Burry's diary noted, for September 22nd, 1921, we distinguished hare and fox tracks, but one mark, like that of a human foot, was most puzzling. The coolies assured me that it was the track of a wild hairy man, and that these men were occasionally to be found in the wilderness and the most inaccessible mountains. Later, he expanded his story to report that the party, including Malroy, who also saw the track, was camped at 20,000 feet and set off at 4 a.m. in bright moonlight to make their crossing of the pass. On the way, they saw footprints which were probably caused by a large loping gray wolf, which in the soft snow formed double tracks rather than those of a barefoot man. However, the porters at once volunteered that the tracks must be that of the wild man of the snows, to which they gave the name Metol Kangmi. So they saw tracks at 21,000 and 20,000 feet.
Wow. That's up there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing about that kind of stuff is like, there's not going to be a hoaxer that's going to go up in the middle of nowhere like that and do that kind of stuff. I mean, it's too cold, it's too high up, the altitude's too high. I mean, it doesn't make sense, you know?
Another one, this happened in 1888 by a William Hugh Knight. He said that the wild man was a little under 6 feet high and almost stark naked in that bitter cold. It was in the month of November. He was kind of pale yellow all over, about that of a Chinaman. A shock of matted hair on his head, little hair on his face, highly splayed feet, and formidable hands. His muscular development in his arms, thighs, legs, back, and chest were terrific. He had in his hand what seemed to be some form of a primitive bow. That was a sighting. Yeah, see, here's the thing though. I have heard and read stories that some Sasquatch have been seen using clubs, spears, things like that. So, and then you have chimpanzees. Like, I just read a story where a troop of 30 chimpanzees attacked a family of 5 gorillas, like lowland gorillas. And the male, the silverback, was just destroying chimpanzees. But while he was doing that and the other ones were fighting off, they snatched the infant gorilla. And that's where I'm going to leave that story, because that family of 5 became a family of 4. And chimpanzees have been seen using things to use as weapons as tools. So
that's wild, man. Yeah, it's a good thing to stop there at that store. That sounds really brutal, man. And I don't, I don't know. I know AAO said that they can make baskets, and I mean, they can do all kinds of stuff that we don't know. But guys, hey, if you don't know, Chester is here with us tonight. Hillbilly Holler, and if you guys don't remember Chester had an encounter. This encounter is extremely, extremely scary. He basically got chased out of the woods when he was a kid. This Bigfoot creature grabbed him, got a hold of him, left a really big scratch mark on the back of his t-shirt, ripped it off of him. He got home. He sit in his room, which was not very secure, and this thing tormented him all night long, still haunts him to this day. We're working on having him come back on the show. His encounter was so incredible, but he's been a really big supporter of this channel, and I'm glad you're here, man. It's really good to see you. I hope you're doing all right. So it's really cool, man. You make these connections, and AO, you're right. Chester's story was incredible. A very incredible story. So let's see here. He said, I'm going out with Billy tomorrow. Let's see here. To get his cross set up, then we're going Bigfoot. Man, if you see something, please let me know. Please let me know. So that was a good one. Glad you're here, man.
Yeah, that like I said, you asked me if I remember Chester a few lives ago, and I'm like, yeah, I do. I remember, and unfortunately, the reason I remember him so well is how his dad treated him.
Oh man, yeah, it's sad, man. Virginia said she's never seen it. I was just talking to you. You need to watch it. I think it was it happened in West Virginia, I believe. So if you go look for the West Virginia ones, it's there. Listen, the back room that he lived in, his dad, like Daniel said, was not good to him at all. Really mistreated him. But they stuck him, and his dad saw this creature outside of the house. Yep. And they stuck him in this room in the back of the house, and this room had three. Basically, it was a sunroom, so there was glass walls, and that's all that kept him safe from this thing was glass, basically. And he said he could hear it breathing outside, sniffing outside of the windows, and it was just, man. When he told me that, it gave me chills. That one still it keeps me up thinking about that as a kid. I can't even imagine. Yep. So if you're looking for something that's extremely scary, that is definitely one of them. It's wild, really wild, man.
See, I thought I had a scary. Nope, mine is nothing like that.
Well, that one's that one. I got some flack on the last one because a lot of times I'll say I got one of the scariest stories I've ever heard.
Yeah, I read
the show, right? But it's true because I get these encounters and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really scary. And I mean, it is like these are scary encounters that people are, like my encounter was scary. I guess if you think about it, looking back, my encounter was extremely scary. But nothing like that, right? And some of these encounters people are seeing are just wild. But I really do think after some of these stories you're talking about, that if these were Yetis they were running into, they wouldn't be here to talk about it. And maybe that's why there's not as many encounters,
No. I'm kind of scanning over some of these because I don't want to, bring any boring ones down. But here's one. It was in 1937. This is in northern India by Major Bill Tillman. And it's funny how everybody's going on all of these expeditions. They're all Englishmen back in this time, and they're all Major this or Colonel that, or maybe the English military was very vested back in the day, I guess, trying to conquer the mountain. I don't know. But he states, while contouring around on foot of the ridge between these two feeder glaciers, we saw in the snow the tracks of an abominable snowman. They were 8 inches in diameter, 18 inches apart, almost circular, without signs of toes or heels. They were 3 or 4 days old, so melting must have altered the outline. The most remarkable thing was that they were in a straight line, one behind the other, with no stagger right or left, like a bird's spore. A 4-footed animal walking slowly puts its hind foot in its track of its forefoot, but there are always some marks of overlapping. nor are the tracks immediately in front of each other. However, many-legged it was. The bird or beast was heavy. The tracks were nearly a foot deep. We followed them for a mile when they disappeared on some rocks. The tracks came from a glacier pool where the animal had evidently drank. And the next day, we picked up on the same spoor on the north side of Snow Lake. The Sherpas judged them to belong to a smaller type of a snowman, or Yeti, as they call them, for which there are apparently two varieties. The smaller, whose spores we were following, which feeds on men, while his larger brother confines himself to a diet of yaks. My remark that no one has been here for 30 years and that he must be devilishly hungry. It did not amuse the Sherpas as much as I expected. The jest was considered ill-timed, as it perhaps was the three of us standing forlorn and alone in the great expanse of snow, looking at a strange track like so many Robinson Crusoes. Tillman speculated that the nature of the creature, a one-legged carnivore bird weighing perhaps a ton, might make a similar track, but it seems unnecessary to search for a new species when we have a perfectly satisfactory one at hand in the form of the abominable snowman, perhaps new perhaps to science, but old to legend. The following footprint. They follow the footprints for a mile. His diary notes 16 inches apart and about 6 to 8 inches in diameter. The bloke says it looked like a hairy monkey.
Can you imagine?
Bro, the Sherpa said that the smaller one eats men and the larger one eats yaks.
No thanks. No, thank you. Why do you think I say stay prayed up at the end of every show? Because you need to stay prayed up. Because there's a lot of strange things out there that we just don't understand, and it's just wild to me, man. And what gets me is these stories never stop. They never stop. These encounters are absolutely everywhere. So yeah, that was crazy. That is crazy. Did you see Flower Child's comment about you?
I did not.
She says that your stories are scary. The one with the window, I live alone and I close my blinds when I'm watching Mistress Unknown. I saw something in my window. That's great. That is great. Listen, here's the thing. I do the same thing. And what's funny is it's not really funny, but I did the interview last week with the Dogman encounter, which if you guys have not seen that one, that one's wild. And he had this Dogman.
You've ever heard?
I'm not going to say that on the show. Not now, anyways. I might next week. You'll have to stay tuned Monday to see if I say it. I don't know.
Nice.
But he had this encounter with this Dogman creature, and this thing came right up to his window, and he could hear it tapping on the window. And he opened up the blinds, and he said that he saw it face to face, big red eyes. So the thing took his finger and did this, and he heard mine speak to come here. But the next day, I got up early in the morning, and I did not want to look out my window. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not looking out my window. So anyways, Frida says, I'm glad I live in a town with no woods close. I can understand that. So, hey, Jennifer's got a question back to I'm not even going to try to pronounce the word, the pass. How do you pronounce it?
Dyatlov.
Yeah. She wants to know why the tent was cut open from inside and how could they tell that?
Okay, so why? I honestly I could not tell you. The show that I watched on Tubi, it said that they may have been again terrified that something maybe was trying to get into the tent and they cut the tent to get out, or again it could have been through that snow slab that came and partially buried it, so they cut the tent to get out. That could have been one of them. And how do they know? You can tell it's a puncture wound. So you could tell that a puncture wound, either if it's going in from the outside or out from the inside, and that's how they could tell. The fabrics were pushed out, so you could tell that a sharp object, knife, whatever they had, was pushed from inside to outside and then sliced it down. So that's how they could tell. It's just like a bullet wound.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild, man. It's such a wild thing. That story was just, there's so many details there. And it happened so long ago. It makes you wonder how much more they could determine if it happened now. Science has come a long ways, but with these creatures, I mean, I don't know. Christopher brought up a good point, and this is where I would love to get your thoughts, Daniel, because me and you do differ on this. I think they more align with supernatural. I think when they're flesh and blood, they're flesh and blood, but when they're not, they're more than that. And that applies to the Yeti. And I know you believe that they're a flesh and blood creature.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with mind speak? If you're on that side of the fence, what do you do with that? Because he heard this creature in his mind. He said it felt like it was in his chest. What do you do with that? And then also too, if that is a thing that these creatures do, I wonder if that happened with that Yeti before they, I wonder if they say anything before they kill you, get rid of you, whatever. But it makes you wonder, man.
Okay, so you and we agree on Dogman.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe it's supernatural.
Okay.
Now for Sasquatch, again, you and I are polar opposites. You're on this side, right. I'm on that side. Again, I can't say someone's not hearing something in their head, because I've heard things in my head, especially walking. Now, I've walked probably thousands of miles in the woods over my lifetime. Heck, just last year I walked almost 1,500 miles. But before that, just as a kid, riding my bike, riding my motorcycle, riding my go-kart, walking through all the woods that I've lived around and decided to go to, there's been times where I was going to take a path and just something in me said, you don't want to go that way today. Not that I heard something say, hey, don't go down there, but I went down. But, with mind speak, it's okay. So not the one you just had, but the one previous to that, the one the guy said he saw a fox, and when he was a kid, and he brought his shotgun up and he heard, don't, he shoots, and then he hears, shoot me. And then he said that this Dogman has been following him his entire life since then, and has told him, when I'm given the okay, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. When I'm given the green light, pretty much, I'm going to kill you first. You're the first person I'm killing.
Yeah.
So
it makes you wonder, for one, how in the world does he live like that? But he did answer that. He answered how he lived like that. He found Christ. He found the Lord, and he's covered by the blood, so he doesn't fear that. And Flower Child says, Daniel, what? You must not have heard that. Yes. So it's weird. We talked about it. I've had, I believe, 4 Dogman encounters from North Carolina, and they are all very strange. Like, they all have a strange. That's the thing about a lot of times when you hear big man, I guess they're big man, but Bigfoot encounters, they're your typicals. Like, I saw it crossing the road. It knocked on the side of the house, tree knocks, things like that. Dogman, there was always a supernatural element attached to it. But this guy shot what he thought was a fox. Later on in life, he started to hear mind speak. This thing has tormented him his whole life till he gave his life to Christ. And he said he learned how to shut it off. So it's just one of those things. But the weird thing is, to me, is it's from North Carolina. It's such a weird place. It also makes me want to, come get you and let's go down to North Carolina and film a documentary, because you hear about LBL, Land Between the Lakes, all that, but people aren't talking about North Carolina, and there's a lot of weird stuff going on there. So,
yep. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's I'm not playing any games. If I come, I'm coming loaded, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, would say loaded for bear, but loaded for Dogman. So, but I think, I really do think that. I think they are shapeshifters, and I believe that because people are like, well, how can how can they be flesh and blood? But I believe that they are fallen angels. They can change the way that they look. And I think they're just pure evil. I do. And I think they thrive off of fear. I think they thrive off of absolute terror and fear. And so, speaking of all that, we didn't mean to jump into Dogman. And if you got more Yeti stuff, we'll get into it. But if you guys want to hear one of the most incredible, scariest Dogman encounters that is out there, let me know. Type in 1 if you want to hear it. And if you've listened to this live before, we've played it, I don't know how many times. But while Daniel's taking a break, are you taking a break? You leaving?
No. I know
he's turning his light off, man. Every time we play this encounter, he turns it off. But okay, we got two ones. If we get at least 6, we'll play it. But it is, make sure I still have it before I say all that. So it is extremely, extremely scary, and I am not okay with it. But it is what it is, you know. Oops, didn't mean to hit that. So let's see. Do you have any more? Well, we got. Hang on. How many ones do we got? A lot. So I guess we have to play it, man.
Well, the last. Yeah, we'll play. I'll do the last one after you play this.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Now listen.
I sent you those pictures.
Okay, cool. Here's the thing, guys. You need to make sure your doors are locked, your shades are drawn, and you have all the lights on. Daniel will probably. He's got his light off. He'll probably open up the door, open the windows up. But I'm like, no, let's keep them shut. And it's this encounter's been out there for a while, but it's pretty scary. So here we go.
And you know, this thing keeps drawing closer and closer to me, and I just can't make out what this thing is. It don't look like anything that I've ever seen. It gets close to the barbed wire fence on the right-hand side. And I think, well, maybe it's going to slow down, or maybe it'll veer off where it won't run into that barbed wire and it'll turn aside out of my way. But it didn't do that. Instead of doing that, this thing sped up. And instead of turning aside, it jumped right over the fence. And it landed on my side of the fence, in between the ditch line and the fence. And then it took another bound. And the next thing I know, this thing is out in the road. I mean, it's right next to my vehicle, and it scared me so bad that I just jerked the wheel to the left and went over as far as I dared into the left-hand lane. And this thing, it started running right along beside of me. I had carry bomb mufflers on that car, and if you know what they're like, they're loud. But yet, at the same time, I could hear the nails of this thing, the toenails, click, 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 clacking on the road as it ran along beside me. And I could see it good now. I really didn't want to look at its face. I really didn't want to see its face. But I couldn't help it. It's just like I couldn't help myself. I had to. And, I mean, this thing was tall. It had to be at least 7 feet tall. It towered over the top of my car. And it was running along beside me. It couldn't have been more than 5 or 6 feet off the passenger side of my car. Just, I mean, right even with my passenger side window. I could see it just as clear as day. And I know that if it wanted to, this thing could have reached right in my car window and right over to the driver's side from the passenger side, and this thing could have grabbed me and it could have drugged me right out of the car. If it wanted to, it could have just ripped my head off, or it could have leaned in my car window and it could have bit my head off. I don't know. I know it could have, and I wanted to get out of there, but I didn't dare because I was in this steep curve, and I knew that if I hit the gas, this car probably wasn't going to be able to handle the curve, and it was going to run off in the ditch, and I was going to wreck, and I was going to be there alone with this thing, and I was going to be at its mercy. And for a little while, it just ran along beside me and just didn't pay me any attention. But that didn't last. Just slowly, seemed like it took forever, but just slowly, it started to turn its head, and it looked at me. Couldn't help it. I looked full in its eyes. I wish that I hadn't. I wish I'd never seen it. I wish I could erase the picture of what I saw from my mind, but I can't. This thing had great big black eyes. All I could see was black, and then they just looked as black to me as a bottomless pit. They just seemed soulless to me, and I just had a sense of of evil that came over me. And this thing, when it looked at me, it was like that it could look through me and look to my very soul. And like I said, I just felt like I had been touched by evil. I don't know how else to explain it. And there was such a fear. And I wanted to scream or to holler out or do something. But it just seemed like my mouth just dried up like cotton, and there wasn't a sound that would come out. And I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to get away from this thing, but I couldn't because I was afraid I was going to wreck. And then it came closer, and it leaned down. It leaned in, and mind you, this thing is running beside my car the whole time. And it stuck its head in my window, and it grabbed hold of my door with its right hand. And that, I don't know how to describe it as other than that. It was a hand. This thing had huge hands, and it had long black nails, maybe about 3 inches long, 2 or 3 inches long, long black thick nails. And this thing put its right hand on my door, and I could hear it. It put its left hand on my doorknob, and it was jerking at my door, and it was jiggling my door handle. But this thing was leaning in my window, and it was looking right at me. And it seemed like that it curled its lips back, and I know it snarled at me, but I don't really remember hearing it. All I could hear was the sound of my engine and the sound of its toenails as it ran along beside my vehicle, going clack, 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 clack on the pavement. And it breathed on me. Seemed like I could smell blood and maybe decaying flesh as it breathed on me. It was horrible. And, I thought I was dead. I thought this was the end of me. I thought I was a goner. I thought I was a dead man for sure. And just about that time, the curve ended, and I came into a straightaway. And I just hit the gas and pushed it to the floor. And I took out of there. I took my eyes off of it, and I looked ahead. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw it lose a grip on my car door, and I saw its smells rake across the top of my door. And its head disappeared from my window. And as I drove away from it, as I pulled away from it, I looked in my rearview mirror, and I could see it getting smaller and smaller as it began to slow down. And the last thing I remember, the last thing that I saw, this thing veered off to the right again and jumped over the fence and disappeared into that field. I've never been so scared in all of my life. I mean, it was just absolutely horrifying.
Turn your lights on, Daniel. Leave your lights on. I hope you guys can sleep tonight after that. If you've never heard that encounter, that's pretty wild.
You played the whole encounter. Every time you've played it before, it's been like an edited, cut down version. Because I heard stuff in that one that I've never heard before.
No, that's the edited version. I don't have the full version.
Really?
The full version is really long. Yeah, it's really, really long. So yeah, pretty crazy. Virginia says, "Hurry, turn the lights on." For real. Hey, from upstate New York. Good to see you, Dan. Glad you're here.
Dan Sheehan.
Glad you are here. For all you guys who are brand new, this is your first time. We hope you guys are enjoying this channel. We appreciate all the support. Let us know how you found us. And for you guys who don't know, we do a live just whenever we can. Daniel's my amazing co-host on these lives. And then every Monday, I drop an interview, Dogman or a Bigfoot encounter, where you see people in real time telling their real stories. And it's we have a good time with it. So, but glad everybody's here. So, and if this also is your first time, we're doing a special this month. If you become a member from now, the whole month of September, you have to join the $6.99 tier or above, but you're going to get a bag of Mysteries Unknown coffee and a very large Mysteries Unknown signed poster. So just throwing that out there. So
it's big, guys. I have one.
It's huge. Yeah, it's really, really, really big. I'd show you, but it's way over there. But Julie says they found us. Go ahead, man. What'd you say?
Mine's not signed.
You want me to sign it?
No,
I'll sign it. Julie says, I found you for looking for Dogman encounters. That's pretty cool. Glad you found us. Yeah, that's really good. I'm having fun listening tonight. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. Glad that you are enjoying it. And Dan says, I moved up to upstate from Long Island 30 years ago. I've lived in the woods. Thankfully, I've never seen a thing. That's a good thing. I know a lot of times some people say they want to see encounters, and to each their own. I will say this: they are life changing. Whether it's a good encounter or bad, they're definitely a life changing experience. So, hey, Julie, thanks for being a member. Glad you were here. That is awesome.
Yeah,
we appreciate all the support. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the tribe. So excited to have you here. So, and we're still trying to figure out kind of a schedule with these lives, but we stay pretty busy and we try to do these whenever we can. So, but Country Carpenter is here. Good to see you.
Welcome.
Yeah. So you got one more Yeti encounter.
I do, and I sent you the pictures. But before we jump into that, it's really weird. If it's not okay for me to talk about this, just tell me it's not okay. So
talk about it, man. Talk about it.
As you know, and some people in here know, I have my own podcast, the Paranormal Narrative podcast, and I just had a guest, a daughter, father, and a granddaughter guest actually, and they were describing to me some of the stuffs that they are experiencing in this area that they go to quite often, and it's rock clacks, it's screams, whistles. And it's a very wooded area. And when they started telling me this, I'm like, you guys, it's possible you guys are interacting with the Sasquatch.
Yeah, 100%.
And I just thought it was amazing. And then Curtis, the dad, the grandfather, he was talking about when he was younger, because they grew up in this area. He would walk by this, and the place is called Lover's Lane. And as he was walking by it, he said he heard something walking, and I said, well, you said you're a hunter, so you can tell whether it's a bipedal or if it's like a deer or something. He goes, it's definitely bipedal, something on two legs. And he goes, I went over and I looked, and he goes, I saw these eyes looking at me, but they were like 10 feet up in the air, and they were like a golden hue to them. And I'm like, holy smoke. So, I mean, there we go. So, it's a possibility that not only are they seeing, paranormal stuff, and that's what I get into, but they're also seeing cryptid stuff. So,
man, these things they're absolutely everywhere. So, it's such a weird world, man. There's so much that we do not understand. And so, it's crazy, man. Pretty crazy. Well, our child says, don't go alone. That is some good advice, man. After hearing what you just talked about and the encounters we've been talking about and these Dogman encounters, you don't go in the woods alone, man. Do not go alone. Do not go alone, man.
I got one better. Just don't go in the woods.
Yeah. It's sad. I used to go out to the woods all the time. Like, I really used to go out to the woods all the time. And now, I mean, like, I'll go out to the woods if it's a local hiking trail or something like that, man. But if it's way out, no, I don't want to go. I have no, thank you, man. I the last time I went out somewhere, I felt eyes on me. I didn't see anything, but you definitely feel eyes, and it changes your perspective because you know that they're there.
Yeah.
So, and I just think that it's one of those things, Flower Child says this, and I agree with you. She goes, they're coming out of everywhere, the end times, and I believe the evil is working overtime. So, I don't know, man. These things, I know this is where me and you differ, but I really do think they're fallen angels, and I think that they are either that or demonic. Either way, they're bad. I think. Can you have a good encounter? Yes, absolutely. You did. You survived. I did. But I think that when they're flesh, and when they're not, they're not. And I think that they kind of go back and forth between that. Did you see those photos of the portal that they captured in Tennessee? Did you see those?
No.
Oh, hang on. I got to show you those, man. There's a lot of weird stuff popping up, man.
I want to address a comment. Dan, so you asked a question if they're if they're everywhere, why can't we get a video or a decent picture? Here's the thing. Okay, I've had a sighted, like, I was less than 25 feet away from one when I saw her. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I was 12 years old. This is back in the mid 80s. So I did not. Hey Scott, how's it going, buddy? I did not have a camera on me. A lot of the technology nowadays, yeah, I tend to ask that question myself because, and I think the reason a lot of people, if they do take pictures and they are really good pictures, or they're really good videos and they're clear, you can clearly see what it is. There are so many people that are putting garbage out there, and I'm not going to name one of the biggest offenders out there, but it makes it, they're afraid to bring, because Josh had someone send him a video and he sent me the video, and I've watched that video over and over. I've actually even watched it on my TV. I got a 70-inch TV, and it is what it is. It yeah. No doubt in my mind, it is what it is. But if that person was to release that video, they would be chastised and just berated because they're trying to say, oh, look what you're trying to do. And there's so many people out there that put pareidolia out. Like, they'll take a picture of, like, I got some weeds out in my backyard. I'll take a pictures of my weeds and I'm like, hey, do you guys see it? Look at it right there. Look at it right there. Right. And I'll just draw an outline of something and I'll post it on any number of the pages I belong to. And I'll get people, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. Look, did you see that right there? It's got a baby with it. You know, so a lot of people hold it and they keep it under wraps because they don't want to be chastised. They don't want to be ridiculed. They don't want. And I'm willing to, Dan, I'm willing to put $1 to a dime that there are some absolutely amazing pictures out there that are true to what they are. And it is a picture of a Sasquatch or Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it. There's amazing video out there. It's just, we're never going to get to see them because of all of the garbage that's out there. And it's hurting the community. It's hurting people who are interested in this, that find this fascinating, because you'll never get a chance to see, yes, it really does exist. Because I don't understand how many people can have the same experience or the most similar experience, in that, to be made up.
It's one of the things that gets me, and we get a lot of stuff that never makes it to the show. And guys, if you send me an email and you say, listen, I just want to share this, and it will not go any further than me and Daniel. That is as far as it'll go. It'll never see the light of day. You can absolutely trust us with that. And we get lots, I'm talking good evidence stuff, like things that would just blow your mind that we see sitting in this chair that we get to see. And the video he's talking about, I mean, there's no denying what it is. It is what it is. And I don't know what you do with that other than, hey, it is what it is. But, I mean, I started Mysteries Unknown because I wanted people to have a safe place to share these encounters, because I remember what it was like the first time I shared my encounter, and people look at you, even family members look at you like, is he crazy? That's one of the reasons I do more than just audio. I put people on video because there is something about being able to see somebody's face, the inflection in their face, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves. And so, I mean, that's why, I do things the way that I do. But, unfortunately, there's a lot of hoaxers out there, and it's very unfortunate for the community. So, but we got a question here. Vanessa's, I'm gonna let you answer this. I'll give you my thoughts, but she wants to know, do you think Bigfoot has good in him? I know you're probably going to answer this differently than me, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I can probably tell you right off the bat that Josh is going to say no. But with me, okay, if Vanessa, if you haven't heard any of my encounters, the sighting that I had, I did not feel any type of like aggression from the female that I saw. I really, honestly, I didn't. I was scared because I was looking at something that I had only heard about or read about in a book, or seen on Unsolved Mysteries back in the, mid 80s, early 80s, things like that. And here it is in the flesh and blood. It stood up. She looked at me. She blinked at me. She let herself be known, like, I'm here. And it's not that, I mean, I'd seen her multiple times in the area that I lived. And so I had never felt threatened by her at all. Now there was a young adult male that I did feel threatened by. And it's just like any person you're going to get on, that you're going to meet on the street. You're going to meet someone who has inherent goodness in them, and you're going to find someone who has inherent bad in them. And it's just however they wake up is what you're going to get.
Here's my thought with that. Here's my opinion. And I love the fact in this community, one of the things about the Dogman, the cryptid community, it is extremely divided. And for whatever reason, we live in this world now that if you don't agree with me, then you're my enemy. And I don't know where that come from and why. Like, that's not how I grew up. But it's that way now, unfortunately. But on this channel, it's not that way. Me and Daniel don't see eye to eye, and he's my brother. I mean, I don't understand how people can't do that. But I personally think that they are evil. Can they act good? Absolutely. Can you have a good encounter? Yes. People all the time, like, why do you think they're evil? If they wanted to kill you, they would have. I'm not saying that they go around and do evil acts all the time and every time you have an encounter with them, but I think they're inherently bad. And I think that they are a fallen angel, a demonic being that can act good if it wants to act good. But I think that at their core, they're not good. But that's my opinion. Nobody's an expert. We can have our own opinions and our own thoughts, but I don't know. But hey, I wanted to show you these pictures real quick. And Daniel, I never did get those pictures that you sent.
I just sent them to you again.
Okay. So check this out, guys. This popped up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Tennessee is one of those states, and if you're from Tennessee, let us know. But a lot of weird, strange stuff happens over there, and they had these portals that popped up the other day. Now, check this out. So here's one picture. Can you see it? See, like the circle there?
Mm-hmm.
The circle there. So check this out. Here's the next picture from that. And then this the last one. That is wild. Really, really wild. It's really well documented. A lot of people captured stuff of it. So I don't have a clue what that is, but Daniel's over there shaking his head like I ain't buying it. But I thought it was really, really strange, man. If you look it up, it's a really strange thing, man. So.
Okay, number one, the very first one, it looked like just a cloud formation. Okay.
They were taken in like, within 2 or 3 seconds of each other, supposedly. So,
well, it happened in Tennessee.
Yeah, in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
All right, I'm gonna tell you right now. Chattanooga is Eastern Tennessee. That's where a bunch of corn liquor is brewed, and that's people out there, a bunch of drunk hillbillies. Because I'm guilty because I'm from Tennessee as well. They're out there blowing fire rings. That's what they're doing. That's what that is. And the way it looks, it is because someone has a camera that's zoomed in and they're trying to get it all. Those are probably like the 3 best ones that turned out. That's why those ones got posted. So I think that's a hoax.
There's a bunch of photos, man. You can go check them out. So go look that up. I don't know. It's pretty interesting to me. Pretty wild. You know who talks about portals in Tennessee all the time? One of my favorite channels.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Confessionals.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about that a lot. So I don't know that I've heard him talk about that yet, but pretty interesting stuff. So
I'm sure Tony. I put him on.
Oh yeah.
Come on, man. Our secret chat room.
Oh, let me see. Okay, there they are.
We're super secret agents,
That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right. Let me get these loaded.
I'm calling shenanigans on those. And I'm all about shenanigans. I love tomfoolery and shenanigans. I'm all for it.
You do love that stuff.
I do.
Yeah, that is your thing. All right, let me get these photos loaded while you talk about this.
I use words like tomfoolery and shenanigans and jabroni and jabron.
It's hilarious, man.
So while he loads these up, I'm kind of give you some background. So I believe that this incident took place. So this was posted to Twitter or X, and it was posted on the 29th of April, 2019, and it happened at the Makalua base camp on April 9th, 2019. And who discovered these pictures was a elite unit of the Indian military, mountaineering expedition team. Was cited. They saw mysterious footprints, what they believe of the mythical beast, a Yeti. They were 32 by 15 inches. So I'm assuming maybe 32 inches long by 15 inches wide. The elusive snowman has only been sighted at this location in the park in the past. And what I find very, very, very intriguing about this is, remember one of the previous stories that I read is that how a bipedal animal creature walks is 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot in the other. You don't have an overlap of prints. It's just a complete straight line. And when let me know.
I got them loaded up. So let me drop the first one here.
So if you're looking left or right, that's the track that they found. Okay, look how far apart those gates are right there. That is roughly 4 to 5 feet between each footstep.
Yep. Here's the next one.
And here's another view of it where it's going up and over that hill. And I'm not sure what this track is. It looks like maybe an animal had made that track. But if you look, again, there's that track. And again, they're in a perfectly straight line.
Yeah. And there's the last one.
And it's just a closer one of it.
Much bigger than the other tracks, too. Way bigger. Way bigger. Pretty interesting, man.
So that was the last known sighting or reported sighting of the Yeti. And that was in 2019. So that's where I find it to be super, super interesting. I love these elusive ones. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. I love listening to Sasquatch. Dogman is quickly becoming one of my all-time favorite ones. And I'm still looking for the video of a Dogman that was sighted, I want to say 2000, maybe 17, 2018. That's less than 20 minutes from my house.
Mm.
And I've just got to find the right page for it.
No, I've not seen that one or heard about it. I mean, I've never heard about that one.
It is bananas. I mean, put it this way, it was so convincing because what had happened was that the lady was driving down this road, and it's a dirt road, a gravel road. It's out in farmland, and they stopped to look. I want to say I think it was some cows, and there were some young calves out there. And as they're looking at them, someone goes, what's that? And they pan the camera over, and there's something in the tree line. And it's looking up, and it's sniffing like that. And then it kind of postures itself up again, and it's massive. It is big. It's not a coyote. It's not a wolf. It is big. And it kind of just sits there and looks, and it sniffs and it sniffs and it sniffs. And then it notices the car, and it looks at the car, and then it backs away into the trees. So, yeah.
Nope. I think I don't know, man. And that was 20 minutes from your house?
Roughly 20 minutes, like 20, 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes top.
That's close enough, man. That's close enough. Speaking of things being close to your house, did you hear the encounter, the very first Dogman encounter? Well, I know you have. Do you remember the very first Dogman encounter came on my show? From the Natchez Trace? Oh,
yeah.
Dude, that one is crazy, guys. This guy, young guy from the military, he was actually deployed when he came on and shared his encounter. But he had this thing. He saw this Dogman creature. He was on his way to drill about 10 miles from his house. When he came back from drill, I don't know, like 2 weeks later, I think he said that about 11:30 or so at night, he heard this creature out in the field, bipedal creature out in the field stomping around. And then he said he heard it breathing outside of his house, really heavy breath. And he knew that was the same creature that he had seen. And he said the weird thing is he put it out of his mind and went to sleep. How you go to sleep after that, man, I don't know. But he said he went to sleep. And his grandpa was living with him, and he said that he got up the next morning. His grandpa hadn't been able to sleep. There's a big window in front of their house, and long story short, his grandpa saw some black figure outside his house walking around, outside of his house. And so he said that the weird thing is when he left for work, he called his dad, or his dad called him. I can't remember, but he asked him if he was okay because he said God woke me up at about 11:30 last night and told me to pray for you. And so, man, it's just so weird. You hear stories like that with Dogman, and I'm like you, Daniel. It's absolutely becoming one of my, I don't want to use the word favorites, but I'm very fascinated with it. And because you don't hear about it as much, but it seems like it's coming out more and more. The more time goes on, the more people are coming forward with it. But man, listen, I hope you don't see it, but I hope you find the evidence in that video because I'd love to see it. But I don't want you to see it, man.
Oh no. Dude, here's the thing. You know what I'd love to do? I would love to go out and kill it and make a rug out of it and put it on my wall.
Hang it in the wall right behind you for the next live. So
yes.
There you go.
Or mount right here. So whenever people pop on, it's like right here in the camera. So you got that big maul. That'd be awesome.
Nope. I wish I could find it. There was an encounter, a lady, I can't remember where it was at, but she had her kids with her. And her husband, if I remember right, was a truck driver. And she said she came home and from getting groceries or something, and she was unloading the groceries. And she heard this noise and looked over to the right. And in between where the truck is and the trailer meets, her husband drove an 18-wheeler. Right. She saw this figure, this black hairy figure, and it stepped out of the truck, and it had really big eyes, dog snout. And she just left the groceries and ran into the house. And this thing tortured her and her kids all night long, just wouldn't leave. And I wish I could find that. It's been years ago before I really got into any of this stuff, and I have no idea where it's at, but I'd love to listen to that again.
I know what you're talking about. And then she goes and she calls her husband. And it's like, you need to come home right now. There's something outside. Yeah. He comes and he sees it run off when he gets there. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's scary. That's a crazy story.
It's crazy. Hey, Scott's got the answer for what we saw in Tennessee. You ready for it?
Absolutely. It's a ring of fire, son.
Exactly. That's great. Flower Child says, I love hearing about both. I expect more evil is out there. I like these stories for sure. Yeah, we like bringing them to you guys. We like talking about them. If you've got a mystery or an encounter you want to send me, or if you want to come on the show, would love to have you on. Send me your encounter. Reach out to me at mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. What is the connection between Sasquatch and coyotes?
I've heard multiple.
That's one I don't know a whole lot about.
I've heard one, Sasquatches use them to hunt. But I've also heard that because I wouldn't really say that Sasquatch are scavengers, but coyotes are known scavengers. And so if maybe a Bigfoot is having an issue with maybe trying to find a food or whatever, they'll go about and hang out around near coyotes. But I know whenever you hear one howl or holler or scream, usually it sets not only coyotes off, but it sets dogs off too.
Everything in the area. It's pretty wild. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there, guys, that we don't understand and can't explain. I don't claim to be an expert by any means. I know Daniel doesn't either. Anybody who comes on there like I'm an expert, I'm like, You're not. So,
Right.
I mean, there's no way you can be. But just to recap a couple things, guys, we're going to do a drawing for a giveaway this month. Two lucky people. If you're a member, $6.99 or above, if you join this coming month, we're going to run that for the next 30 days. And we'll do a live drawing towards the end of that, or at the end of the month. And you're going to get a bag of Mysteries Unknown coffee, and you're going to get a really large signed poster. So we'll do the drawing. Two people are going to win. All you got to do is be a $6.99 member or above. So if you join, please let me know. Send me an email. If you love these lives, like and share the heck out of them. Tell your friends, tell people. We're just two guys that have had encounters that love to talk about these things on lives. And every single Monday, I've not missed one in a long time. I drop a interview that I've done with somebody who's had an encounter. So, yeah, good stuff. But let's see here.
How do you become a member? Well, I'm a member, so I can't tell you the button.
So if you, for whatever reason, if you have an iPhone, if you're watching on an iPhone, you can't do it directly. But if you have an Android device, there's a button that says join. You can join that, and then you can pick what tier you want to. But if you have an iPhone, you have to do it from a desktop computer. I don't know why that is, but you got to go to a desktop computer and become a member. So there's several options there. And, eventually this is what I want to do full time. And, just that's how you do that. And I'm trying my best to get, these out there. And I'm tossing around the idea of maybe on Thursdays dropping a different kind of, something related to a different kind of mystery or something like that. And, a lot of stuff in the works, and maybe me and Daniel can get on a more permanent schedule with these lives, but we try our best to do them 2 times a month at least, if not more. We love hanging out with you guys and love all of the support. So it's a lot of fun. We really love talking to you guys. We really do mean it. We like to talk to you guys in the chat. So it's always good to hear from everybody. If this was your first time here, we are glad you are here. Yep. So yeah,
it's funny. It's funny because I'm sure everybody here, if you guys go in and you look at like an older video or episode, that I'm also involved in the chats. Like I'm liking chats. I'm laughing, or I'm commenting. I'm thanking people. I also sometimes I ignore chats. I haven't removed any chats. I'm not a censor unless they're really, really dumb, and then I might remove it.
Yeah, you're allowed. I mean, we're cool with, whatever, your opinion. I'm not going to, whatever. The only problem I have is somebody gets rude or they're hateful towards somebody who's come on the show or somebody else. That's something we're not going to tolerate, not going to tolerate that. Christopher said, this is my favorite YouTube channel by far. That is awesome. Really am grateful. It's hard to believe, I'm approaching 9,000 subs, and that's just wild to me. I can't believe that, but thank you again, Jennifer. $9.99 super
awesome.
Chat. Thank you for that. That is so great. I really appreciate all the support. That's awesome. And we're glad that you enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out with us. Amity, I'm glad it did. I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. Glad everybody enjoyed it. We always have fun, and Daniel does an amazing job getting these stories. And, if there's something you want us to talk about in the next live, let us know. We would love to do some research. Daniel is really, really good at that. Loves to digging into this stuff. And, we always have a good time. So,
bro, you said you have almost 9,000 subs.
Getting on it. Yeah. Right at it. Which is really crazy. I never, ever thought I would reach 100. So it's just,
Scott, how's it going?
It's wild to me. So, but
I'm on your heels, man. I'm on your heels.
I know, dude.
I got 67 subs. You better look out. I'm on fire.
Listen, you all start with one. You start with one. So that's all it takes, and you're such a great co-host, and you make people comfortable. And I know this community really, really loves you, man. So I'm glad that you're doing that, and you'll do good things, man. You'll do really good things.
I truly, truly enjoy. I mean, I could sit here and we can just talk about anything and everything, tell some stories, And I mean, like Billy Schilling is like, first time on your chat. Always enjoy your show. Thank you so much. I could sit
Thanks,
here
Billy.
in Virginia and AAO and Chirino. Is it, how do you say it? Chirino 7?
Yes, he told me in an email how to pronounce it, and I can't remember how. So we're just going to refer to you as Chio Rio because I'm just a Southern boy, and I promise you, I'm butchering that. But I'm glad you're here, Virginia. It's always great to see you, Michelle. We've got some good people in this community, and Flower Child Deb. So it's always great to see everybody, and I'm just grateful. Just thankful for everybody, but. It's been a good one tonight, and I'm grateful for everybody out here. But man, I'm out of coffee, and I'm gonna have to bring this thing to an end. About 2 hours is all I can do sometimes, man. I've got to drink. We got to use the bathroom and drink more coffee. But Virginia says I love our tribe. You're right. It's a good tribe. And Scott or Chio, this is the best comment right here. That's the best. Stay prayed up. Jesus not only saves. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. That's right, man. Love that. I love that. But you got anything else?
No. Can I give my show a plug?
Yeah, man. Do it.
Hey guys, if you guys are also interested in the paranormal, the supernatural, I started a channel. It's called the Paranormal Narrative Podcast. Again, it's on YouTube. One sub at a time. I'm having fun doing it. I'm still looking for people who would like to come on the channel. I've had a lot of people send me some stuff, and respectively, I'm waiting for their okay to either read it or bring them on. There's no pressure, just like with Josh. There's no pressure to come on the show, but if you'd like to, you can email me at the paranormal narrative podcast at gmail.com. And I've got 5 episodes up now, so you don't have to worry about it. And awesome. They're from anywhere between 25 minutes to almost an hour, just depending. I don't want to stress anybody out when I'm interviewing them or anything like that. So, yeah, I have a good time doing it.
Well, you're a good host. You make people feel comfortable. So that's why I know you'll be successful. You will. So good stuff, man. Daniel's a great guy. I'm thankful. I got to meet him through Bigfoot. So love that. Love that. But guys, if this was your first time here, just thank you to everybody. Thanks to all the support. If you gave a super chat, thank you very much. If you just hanging out with us, thanks so much. Tell your friends, tell people about it. And you never know what we're going to be talking about next. But man, if you got anything else, Daniel, I think I'm done, man.
Well, brother, I just want to say I am glad that we got to do this. I'm glad that that I get a chance to see all these people. Because here's the thing: who would have thought that we have relationships with you guys? We really do.
It's cool.
Some people in here have sent us very personal, very private stories and encounters, and they've entrusted us. We are the keeper of their stories, and I am so grateful that you guys trust us enough. And until I can't do this anymore and beyond, I will forever be your guardian of your stories. And
yeah, that's
thank
right.
you so much. And like I said, when Josh succeeds, I succeed. And he's my brother. I lost my little brother in 2016, and now I get to hang out with my new little brother right here. So
it's awesome. Well, I'm grateful for you, man. I feel the same way. I know it's amazing to me how things come together. So I'm grateful for you, man. Grateful for you. But we're grateful for you guys. It really does mean it. We definitely are safe keepers of your story. And if you have something you want to share, send it to mysteriesunknownpodcast@gmail.com. We absolutely will keep it close to the vest until you are ready to come forward with it. But one more plug for tonight's sponsor, and then we're going to get out of here.
On February 1959, 9 hikers were killed.
That's not the right one. See? Here we go. Let's try this again.
Since the beginning of time, man has tried to solve this one mystery. Why is coffee so stinking good? Solve the mystery with Mysteries Unknown Coffee. The truth. Since the big...
I need to just get off here. See, it's time for me to go. Anyways, you get the point. The truth is out there. Solve the mystery with Mysteries Unknown Coffee. Go to mysteriesunknowncoffee.com and check that out. I got to get off here, man, before I do something really stupid. But you guys are awesome. We appreciate all the support. You know what I'm going to say. Stay prayed up. It's so very important. We'll see you guys in the next one.